Welcome to Building Your T-Shirt Empire, powered by ShirtAgency.com. Get ready to take a trip inside the apparel industry for the best tips, tricks, and interviews. And now, here's your host, Cole Lundstrom.
Hello. So on this episode, I talk with Rogier and Brett about our trip to Haiti for Allmade and how they're making the fabric in the States with some of the most premium materials. So I'll let the guys introduce themselves.
Hey guys, my name's Brett Bowden. I'm the CEO and El Capitan of Printed Threads, a screen printing company based out of Fort Worth, Texas. I'm also the chairman of the Garment Decorating Committee for SGIA, where my leading task this past year has been putting on the ThreadX conference, which is happening in Palm Springs this next month in February. And so I'm excited to talk to you, talk to Cole, talk to Rogier about all the exciting things going on right now.
All right. So, hey, guys, my name is Rogier Ducloo. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at Ryonet and also lead the Allmade initiative. Been with Ryonet for the last 2 years or so and have a background in technology and telecom and finance. So new to the industry, relatively new to the industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was really fascinated to find out all the places you had been, Rogier, and then how you ended up meeting Ryan Moore was pretty fascinating. What was it that drew you to Allmade?
Oh, gosh. Allmade, was part of the, well, not Allmade specifically, but adding a garment to the portfolio at Ryonet was always part of the conversation I had with Ryan. We were just looking at a way to do that and the best timing to do it. And in the end, the timing sort of, it just came to us and just worked out that way. And the way we went about it is something that, we're all pretty pleased about.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty awesome product. Brett, the first time I met you was actually in Haiti, but I'd kind of heard of you as like legend. What was it that you first learned about Allmade that got you involved?
I've developed this kind of relationship with Ryan over the last couple of years, and just because we're really similar people, both have young kids, both started a business after being in a rock band for years, and over the course of time of us kind of developing this friendship, someone had approached Ryan with this idea of this T-shirt thing, and a guy that became friends with me as well and asked if I'd be willing to go to Haiti when Ryan went his first time, and I respectfully declined. But Ryan kind of came back and was like, "Dude, I got to tell you the story," and told us the story of what was going on in Haiti, and just kind of like sparked that fire inside of me, and then continued to tell the story to some other people, and then said, "Hey, let's go to Haiti in December," which was December 2015 or 2016 rather. And man, we just went, and at the time there was like nothing was really completely happening yet. We hadn't shows of fabric. We hadn't shows like the product really. We just kind of went down there on like, maybe we'll call it like a vision quest, and everyone just got stoked, and the idea of this becoming a reality was like just a really exciting thing that we just turned around and immediately after that trip started working really hard on.
Tell me a little bit about just kind of like the pillars of the company. What are you guys hoping to accomplish with Allmade as a brand?
Yeah, great question. It started with, very much with a humanitarian perspective. First and foremost, we were approached by a company that runs this, living wage cut and sew facility in Haiti, and it's owned by a nonprofit, and all the profits from that business are funneled back into orphan care and orphan prevention. And so the first, and not necessarily foremost, but first pillar of the brand is definitely social justice and a humanitarian perspective on things. But then as we just dug in and looked at what components to the shirt and how are they cultivated and how are they processed, it became very clear to all of us really on how destructive and environmental that is, and so that's where the second pillar comes in, which is the environmental side of things. We wanted to reduce our impact and make sure that we're on a path of sustainability. So that's why we picked the components that we did. Choosing organic over conventional, choosing recycled over virgin, choosing modal over traditional rayon. And the nice thing about that modal, by the way, is that ends up that's a much softer. It's known for its softness. So aside from having a much lower footprint on the environment, it's much, much softer, and it has greater what they call wet strength, which means that it will hold its shape much better when it does become wet, and as a consequence, it will hold up in the laundry much better, so it will last longer. So now you have a shirt that is made of better components, processed in a more responsible way, and it will last longer so that you can buy better, buy less, right? So reduce the impact on the environment there. And then the third pillar. And that may actually be the first pillar, which is that we wanted to create a product for screen printers very specifically. We wanted to work with screen printers on the styles and the sizing and the color choices and the fabric and optimizing that fabric for print. And I think we were pretty successful in doing that. It's super smooth, easy to print on, discharges really well. Does really well on direct to garment. It performs really well at direct to garment, and so those are the three pillars. It's social justice, humanitarian side. It's environmental responsibility, sustainability, and then for screen printers.
So just to confront you, as someone who runs a shop in LA and hears this constantly, especially after the fall of American Apparel. What made you guys decide to not do U.S. made if you're going to go for the premium, we did everything right kind of a product? That's such a huge thing in the U.S. We would get requests all the time, and you guys seem to have decided Haiti was a better option. Could you tell me why?
Yeah, great question as well. You got to start from the very, very beginning. First, we're sourcing our organic cotton in Texas. So, and we're sourcing our recycled polyester in North Carolina. And it's made from plastic bottles, about 6 to a shirt, that are collected, that are post-consumer and collected, all across the U.S. The modal is coming in from Austria. We were okay with that because the alternative rayon would come in from China. Because it's such a chemically intense process, I am not aware of any rayon production facilities in the U.S. anymore. So there's no choice but to import that. And I think bringing it in from Europe, where it's, made in a more sustainable way from, managed forest is a better choice than bringing it in, from China or Far East and clear cuts. So we're taking all those raw materials and we're spinning that at a facility in South Carolina. We are knitting that a couple of hours down the road in South Carolina, and then we're dyeing it and we're finishing it in South Carolina, Gaffney, South Carolina specifically, before we ship it off to Haiti. And so I get that question a lot myself. It's why go to Haiti? Why not do it here? There's poverty here. There's, economic orphan situations here. Lots of kids in the system. Same sort of, challenges that exist here. Why do you go to Haiti? And we asked ourselves that question early on. And the conclusion that we came to was that, yes, we could do it here in the U.S., but in order to be competitive, you would go to a tubular design. So you cut out the side seam sewing. You would automate as much as the sewing as possible. All the sleeve prep, all the other stuff you would do on a machine, and you cut out as much labor as you can, because otherwise you can't compete. Your price goes up so significantly. And so in the end, you come up with a U.S. made product, but it's much more a capital investment than it is an investment in labor and humans. And so in Haiti, the conditions are such, it's clearly we're paying a lot less there for labor than we would here in the U.S., where we can very deliberately maximize the amount of labor that we're putting into a shirt. So, we are going with the side seam. We are doing all the bits and pieces in a manual fashion, and it ends up, I believe, with a higher quality, and we can, almost, while it's an efficient process, we do it purposely inefficiently to maximize how many people we can, bring on board and pay a living wage in that environment, because every dollar that we spend there will have a far greater impact than it would here, and it funnels down to the local economy, which has this, further sort of spreading ripple effect. Where here, if it's a capital investment, it just ends up in the pockets of some people that have, plenty to spare, and don't really need anything incremental. So it was just a matter of how far does your dollar go, and where do you make the bigger impact? And we concluded that, by taking it to Haiti, which is only 1,000 miles from South Carolina, we minimized or it reduced that transportation loop. We employ the most amount of people in a place that desperately needs some help, and our impact is far greater than our impact would be here in the U.S. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not ever going to do anything in the U.S. We already do all our kit stuff is done in the U.S., so those are 100% U.S. made, and we're looking at some other options on doing part of the production or maybe some styles that will be 100% U.S., but that will come further down the road.
For me, when I went to Haiti, it was just like so striking just to see the way the industry really works and to see the countries that all the cut and sew is actually happening in. It definitely was like a rude awakening as far as like realizing how it really works. But even beyond that, like Rogier, you've been a big part of the fabric side of it, right? I mean, you've been trying to raise the standard beyond just the laborers, but just the environmental impact. Could you tell us about that?
Absolutely. And I think that your experience and Brett's experience is true for almost everyone that we're bringing along there. So we've all been, or many of you have been in the industry for so many years. And as a consumer, I've been putting it on my body for as long as I live. And none of us really have a good idea of what goes into it, and that's both on the, the human side, the labor, and the exploitation that happens across the industry and on all continents, as well as the materials that the product is made of. That's gosh, I don't even. Every time I have this conversation, it's like, where do you start? Because there's so much to talk about. Cotton, dirtiest crop worldwide, single largest users of pesticides. 24% of it goes into the cultivation of cotton. Domestically, 98% of cotton is genetically modified and ready for the harshest chemicals, Roundup and others. And then it's true for all the other components as well. In our case, Allmade is made of our core product right now is a tri-blend that's made of cotton, polyester, and a rayon. And when you look at sort of the traditional cotton, is conventional and laden with chemicals. Poly is, called virgin, but it's a bit of a misnomer. It's just, but it's derived from oil or natural gas. And then rayon is, it contributes to a bunch of clear cutting and is is reconstituted wood pulp. And the way to do that is by dissolving it using some pretty harsh chemicals. And so, none of it is anything that if you start talking about it in that sense, you would want to put on your body or you can get particularly excited about. For Allmade, we decided to look at, how can we take those three components but look for the better options in all of those components, and it was in large part driven by, the desire to find something that could still be at a price point that's close to what is currently available, so that we don't have to, shift your mindset and completely overthrow your wallet in switching from current option to this better option, and so. For this Allmade tri-blend, we're using organic cotton sourced in Texas. We're using recycled polyester sourced in North Carolina. Here in the U.S., only 30% of plastic bottles is recycled. And even with that relatively low number, that low recycle rate, there's still so much recycled polyester that we can make garments for a long, long time to come. And then instead of rayon, we opted for Modal, which is a next generation rayon, and it's sourced from sustainably harvested trees, and the process is almost closed loop. The chemicals are a lot less harsh, and they're reused over and over and over again And the outputs, aside from modal, are used as a common industrial chemical used for all sorts of uses. Shampoos and cosmetics, as well as in the making of photovoltaic panels.
Yeah, I mean it's basically the concept of on every step along the way you decided that Allmade was going to make the most ethical choice. Essentially, I mean, I was telling some of my staff that like every corner they could have cut, they did not cut. It was just a consistent decision to make the right decision throughout the entire process.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's not easy because we're all somewhat hypocrites, right? We do these things with the best intentions, but to make the perfect product, you end up with a $20 blank if you could even make it, and so that's not realistic. So we're well aware that the options that we're using are not 100% sustainable either, but there is a real strong motivation to just continue to like make it better and raise the bar on all of these things, and that throughout the process. And just yesterday we were looking at sourcing some new options for tags, and almost all the tag options are virgin polyester tag options, and it's not easy to find a source that will actually produce one that's made of recycled, even though it's planted available pretty more than sufficiently.
I mean, I had my own experience when I first got to Haiti, but I'd love to hear what you thought the first time you were there, Brett. Like, what was it like to kind of go into a third world country and see how other people are making garments?
Oh man, the first time we went to Haiti, such a heavy experience. I think we are used to so many amazing creature comforts here in the United States that when we go see something like that, it's hard to even imagine that it's real. I remember just getting in this bus and driving down this road, if you can call it that, and just lined with trash on the streets. And there's poverty is real in the United States, but it's kind of like in the shadows, I guess. But when you go somewhere like Haiti, the poverty is very apparent and very present, and so I think it hits you really hard when you see all those realities. But I guess once we got there and we kind of took our first bus ride and saw like what everything looked at, I had this assumption in my head of what the actual garment facility would look like. And I can't, like, I'm sure you had the same experience, Cole, where you walk in and you're like, I can't believe how clean and organized and well lit. Just like, this place is amazing. I remember thinking like, we should look into getting this kind of lighting for my print shop,
Yeah, I mean, not to name names, but like I know people in LA that absolutely have a worse facility in LA, in the States, paying people like 15, 16 an hour. And the working conditions are worse in the buildings that those people are working in. Like, I loved that facility. Seeing it close up with my own eyes, I was just like, man, they're doing everything right here.
Yeah, for sure. Brett and I have visited quite a few, cut and sew facilities since we started this project here domestically and in, other regions in North America. And that facility in Haiti stands out, very favorably to all of them.
I think the first time we went there and, the director of the sewing facility was like talking to us about how they have ergonomic chairs and all this stuff. I was like, kind of thinking in my head, you're just saying all this stuff, but like after going to other sewing facilities that are using folding chairs to, for their workers, I was like, oh, I get it now. This is a big deal.
Oh yeah, it's a huge deal. I mean, the thing is, like, no matter what you pay the workers, it's like backbreaking work. It's a brutal, like, head down kind of a labor. So when I found out that they were doing like adjustable sewing tables and ergonomic chairs, I was like, what is going on? This isn't just like it's not just a marketing gimmick. Like, it's an actual commitment to treating people right.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So just so we know a little bit more, Rogier, what is like the industry standard as far as pay and as far as working conditions?
Um, I don't know about I can talk to you about a standard in Haiti. And we just talked a little bit about what is common here in the U.S. In Haiti, the minimum wage is $2 a day. The fashion industry, which is pretty well organized in Haiti, and it's got, there's a union involved, and they've negotiated some minimum rates, and it's approximately $4 a day. I say approximate because the exchange rate fluctuates like crazy. So, but it gives you an idea. It's about 2x of what the minimum is. But then a living wage, and a living wage is defined as something that will, get you some, decent clothes on your body, have nutritious food on the table, take care of your kids, send them to school, roof over your head, and basic medical care. And clearly a living standard in Haiti is a fair bit lower than what we're used to here. But that's what constitutes pretty much across the world. When people talk about a living wage, that's what constitutes a living wage. In Haiti, that's $16. So minimum is $2, industry pays $4, living is $16. We at Life have made a very conscious decision to pay a living wage. And so we guarantee $16 a day. That's sort of the base pay. And then on top of that, we have performance-based compensation. So we sew in lines, and the lines start pretty cool. They start competing against each other, and they track exactly throughout the day on where they're at. And depending on what their output for the day is, they can earn up to another $8 or so a day. So on a bad day, they get $16 a day, and on a good day, they can make as much as $24 a day.
Yeah, and you were saying, if I remember right, when we were in Haiti, that unemployment there is about 80%, and that the people who are employed are supporting up to 5 of their family members. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's what we've heard, and these are the official rates. And Haiti, it's a developing nation, lots of opportunity, but not a lot of infrastructure, and so you have to take all these numbers with a grain of salt. But the official unemployment, I believe, is around 80%, and there's no social infrastructure. So an income earner will take care of up to 5, conservatively, 8, probably more realistically, family members. This is spouses, uncles, aunts, kids, cousins, nephews. And so that's sort of what the average is, yeah.
On the fun side of t-shirts, what do you think of the fit and finish that you guys have been working on with Allmade?
We put so much thought and so much effort into this. And I think, there's 10 actual founders of Allmade, which are all people that own print shops. And those people all kind of brought together their minds, or their thoughts and their ideas, and their customers' ideas. We're thinking, we really like that shirt, we really like that shirt, but if that one was a little bit longer, or if that one was a little bit narrower, or whatever that was. And so we made this shirt that fits right. And it sounds so funny because there's a fashion designer working at every t-shirt brand, and someone has decided that at their brand, this t-shirt fits, really well, but they all fit so differently from brand to brand to brand. So I think we were trying to just kind of come up with an average of those things. And I love wearing mine. I wear it all the time. And then the finish of it is a really smooth, soft finish, which makes it a lot easier to print. We're not dealing with as much fibrillation and those types of issues as we might with some other garments. I think that when you take a printer's perspective and then you lay some fabric down in front of them, they can easily say yeah, that's going to suck to print, or yeah, that's going to be great to print. And we went with the idea of having something great to print. And then, we did a lot of testing of the printing, the printability, which, making sure that some of this fabric will discharge properly, or whatever those components are. And the exciting thing about these tri-blend shirts is they actually all discharge pretty well too. So I think we took the printer's perspective and we took the customer's perspective, and we kind of, threw it all in a pot and made up a pretty good stew. And that is what the Allmade shirt is.
Yeah, I totally agree. The fit of it, as someone who's a bit of a chubby boy, I absolutely love that it's got at least, I don't know, like it feels like it has almost an inch and a half over most shirts that people are putting out. So
Yep.
it's not just a stupid wide XL, but it's like a proper XL. So you don't have that whole thing where like you put your arms up and even though it fits, it's too short. It's just like it's a really great finish on the shirt. And then the discharge, like you mentioned, Brett, is working amazing for us. It's probably the best tri-blend discharge I've ever experienced. It's like so bright. I'm not quite sure what it was that caused the difference, but it's definitely working better than what we're used to.
Yeah, it's all pretty exciting overall. I mean, this was such a huge undertaking, and it still is. But to be able to walk away at the end of the day and be really excited about the product you produced is a really, really good feeling.
Yeah, it's really cool that it's not like a charity tee. It feels like you can sell it as a premium tee, and it happens to have a really good heart at the center of it. So, Roger, for anyone who wants to head out to Haiti and see this for themselves, what's the plan in the future? Are there more trips coming?
For sure, yes. It's so meaningful when every time we take some people that have never been to Haiti, and we'll end up, once we expand and we go and expand on geographies, because Haiti is really core right now, but it's not, a core value. The core value is, social justice, right? Creating living wage jobs, breaking an orphan cycle that is very, very common in developing nations where, 80% of orphans still have living parents. They're not orphans by our definition, but they're economic orphans. And so, living wage jobs, period, but living wage jobs specifically allows parents to hold on to their kids, take care of their kids, and breaks that cycle. So, that problem exists here in the U.S., that exists in Haiti, that exists in other, nations across the world. And so, we will diversify geographically and do the same thing in other places. The next trip, though, to Haiti right now is scheduled to be the middle of June. And we bring the team, of course, a handful of people. There's always some of our founders and some, early adopters that have already come along. And it's great because they can they've already been there, they've already experienced it. And you'll find that the second time you go, you look at things completely different. And then we'll bring along at least 10 to 15, folks interested, printers or early adopters that have not yet been, and we'll expose everyone a bit to the cultural side of Haiti, the environmental side of Haiti, and then spend a good amount of time at the factory talking about the working conditions and the process and the fabric and everything else. So it's usually it's about 4 or 5 days that we go, and tentatively we're looking at the middle of June for the next one.
Cool. I would like to say that I think that this is something that, aside of the whole T-shirt thing and all that, I think that this is a trip that everyone should go on, everyone in the world, or everyone in the United States, certainly. It's really important to see what our world is like. We fool ourselves by driving fancy cars and staying in lavish hotels and all this stuff, and that's not where our values should really be. One of the things that was said when we were in Haiti last that really affected my wife and I was, when Claude said that every person deserves to be treated like a person. And the problem with our world is we're not treating everyone like people. So I think when you go somewhere like Haiti, it really affects you in a way that you find true value in what is truly valuable.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely jarring for me, just the disconnect from the normal life here in the U.S. to see what it really looks like to go to Haiti. And it was actually almost more jarring to come back, because as soon as I got a flight from Miami back to L.A., I had people sitting next to me complaining and bothering stewardesses and telling them why they weren't fast enough. And it was just something where it was like, you need to go to Haiti. So, Brett, before we close out, if you could tell us a little bit about ThreadX. I'm really excited to go out there, and I can't wait to see what you guys have cooked up.
Absolutely. So, as a member of SGIA and someone being on the garment decorating committee for the last couple of years, we were trying to figure out something that we could do for our industry that is different than what is currently happening. Because obviously, there's a lot of really great trade shows out there, and these trade shows have great education. But the education is all kind of remedial or helping people getting into screen printing, techniques on screen printing and whatnot, and some business stuff. But after going to so many conferences for the last couple of years, because my company's involved in a lot of different conferences, I had this kind of idea of like, what if we created a summit for people that are currently in business, whether you're a young print shop or an old print shop or wherever you are in business, that would be a great resource for all of these people. And so what we came up with was a conference called ThreadX, which this year the theme is going to be based around e-commerce, marketing, and branding. And so going and learning from people that are real experts in all of those fields. So, Johnny Cupcakes, who has been, I guess you could say, a branding expert and maybe a t-shirt mogul. I think it's going to be really cool to go hear his story of how he started a clothing brand and how it got huge. We've got a guy named Ricardo Crespo, who was the chief creative officer at Mattel. He's the global marketing officer for 20th Century Fox, and hear his stories about how making a brand and how creating clever advertising can really boost your business. Also hearing from social media experts that run social media campaigns for Fortune 500 companies, and then people like Tim from YR Store, who are really innovating in our industry and using all the same tools that we have to do something completely different than what most of us are doing for great customer experiences. So I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to go learn how we're going to compete and how we're going to, stay top of mind to our customers over the next couple of years when, giant companies like Amazon are coming in and kind of encroaching in our territory.
Just for all the details, where is it going to be held? What are the dates and how can people sign up?
Yeah, so from February 25th to 28th, it is going to be held in Palm Springs, California. It's going to be at the Hyatt Hotel, which is it's a beautiful hotel. If you've never been to Palm Springs, it's a really cool place to go. It is really kind of like, if you think about that Frank Sinatra era, it still feels like that. It's just like kind of a fun place to be. It's going to be warm when everything else is cold in February, so just a great time to be there. If you go to threadx18.com, you can register. You can see all the speakers and get more information about it. And if you email me, Brett at printedthreads.com, I can maybe hook you up with a little bit of a discount to give you a little more incentive to go. We want everyone that could possibly be there to be there. I think this is going to be a great thing to help you grow your business. And I think, the future is here, and the future's on the internet. And how do we get customers to pay attention to us on the internet is going to be a very important thing for all of us to learn.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to go. I think it's going to be fantastic. It goes so much further beyond how to screen print. It's cool to have a conference that's not built on the basics of the industry, but instead managing a shop. It's a lot more interesting, at least for me.
Absolutely. And I think, it's something that our industry hasn't really done before. And I think other industries do it all the time. So I think there's a little bit of this shock. A lot of people looked at the price and like, oh my gosh, I can't afford to do that. But it's one of those arguments of like, man, if you really want your business to be better, go learn from experts. Not only the other print shops that are going to be there that have, a lot of people that have been doing really, really well, but even experts at marketing and branding and them telling you how you can make your business better. I've even heard, over the last couple of days, some of the people that have signed up are definitely people that you're going to want to be around. Definitely leaders in our industry and leaders beyond our industry that can help you. And creating relationships with these types of people is priceless.
Yeah.
You can't afford not to go.
Yeah. Thanks for that
true.
easy line.
I mean, it's true. There's definitely some truth to the fact that you can meet one or two people and they'll do more to your business than 1,000 new customers could ever do. So There's definitely some truth to learning from the best. Well, I know you guys are very busy, and so thanks so much for talking to me.
Yeah, for sure, Cole. Thanks for having us.
Hey,
Absolutely.
No
It was a pleasure.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening, and I hope everyone has a good week. Bye. Just one last thing for anybody who is interested in getting some Allmade t-shirts. If you're looking to have them printed, feel free to call us at Shirt Agency or head over to our website, shirtagency.com. And if you're a screen printer and you wanted to open an early adopter account, you can head directly to allmade.com, and they have a wait list that you can sign up for. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.